Hello friends, welcome to our latest episode of Uncovering the Investigation, where we take you behind the scenes of our 9 News investigators. With me as always, lead investigator Scotty Hunter. Now Scotty, we're talking about a story today that has a lot of parts to it and that actually goes back to Hurricane Ida. Pretty disturbing story about the nursing home situation over in Independence. Just a reminder for you, here's a look at some of the video from that scene. 7 nursing home facilities in the New Orleans area evacuated their residents to a warehouse in Independence that resulted in the death of 7 people as a result due to some of the conditions there reportedly. The health department tried to investigate it. They were kicked off of campus and kicked off the property rather. And now there are lots of lawsuits being targeted around this. So Scotty Hunter, what else has happened since then?
Yeah, of course, Bob Dean, the man behind those New Orleans area nursing homes and the guy that kind of signed off on this evacuation, you know, of course, a lot of those lawsuits are going after him. This lawsuit was a little bit different. This was filed by Ron Haley, the Unglesby Law Firm, a lot of different attorneys coming together on this one. Now actually saying that it's not just Bob Dean, the man behind those nursing homes, but it's also the state of Louisiana that they say are responsible for what happened here, because they say that they signed off on the plan. Without them signing off on the plan, you know, it wouldn't have happened.
So when you say a plan, that's the evacuation plan that the nursing home has to come up with.
Right. So basically they had to submit a plan to say, this is what we're going to do in case something happens during Ida. They have to submit that to the state. The state has to then sign off on it through LDH and then say that, yeah, this is okay. This is acceptable for you to do.
So one thing I think is interesting, though, is that the attorney behind this lawsuit, Ron Haley, pointed out another factor of kind of role that the health department may have played in this is that that inspector that came to check things out was reportedly kicked off the property by Bob Dean himself, and then the health department did not respond still for, it was like another day before they got a crew out there, and that was something you got an answer from the health department directly about that.
Yeah, the director of their legal department said that they got the team back out there pretty quickly. That was one of the things that we kind of pushed them on during their press conference with LDH. They said they got a team out there within the next day, but the thing that Ron Haley was arguing is that, well, why did you leave in the first place? You could have done a number of things to stay on the property. Basically, they oversee these nursing homes. They oversee, you know, this entire ordeal. So why would you then, if you oversee it, leave and just say, oh, well, they kicked me off? Right. So that was one of the things that that attorney was arguing as well. You know, it's also interesting the fact that, of course, the same day that we got tipped off about this, we reached out to LDH to kind of see what was going on in Independence. That was the same day that the person that they sent out there got kicked off the property. We didn't find out, though, until a few days later when LDH responded to our request for information.
Okay, so we have a couple of sound bites from your story that aired recently. Who are we going to be hearing from in
this?
You're
going to be hearing from attorney Ron Haley on this. He's going to be bringing up some important points that he says, you know, why he believes the state is responsible for this.
Okay, let's take a listen.
Because they approved the plan. They approved it. Bob Dean submitted this plan to dump over 800 people into a warehouse during a hurricane, and they said, you know what? That's okay. We're going to approve that. So yes, they're responsible for that, but they're also responsible. Like, this is not the first rodeo with Mr. Dean, and yet the state did not act at that time and take his license away at that time. So we're under the opinion that this person should not have had the opportunity to have a license at this time. He shouldn't have been allowed to.
So you hear from Ron Haley there. He's saying that, you know, this guy, Bob Dean, shouldn't have had a license to begin with. And it's interesting because, you know, we've actually done, the 9 News investigators have done a couple of stories on this. I know Cheryl Mercedes did a story a couple of years ago, I think it was 2017, where she looked into Bob Dean and she looked into Plaquemine Manor. There was a woman there who reached out that said that her mom was being neglected there at the property. We actually got some records at that time showing that the state went out to Plaquemine Manor in 2016 and actually found out some allegations of abuse were true. So if that is the case in 2016, if we found out that there was a property where some abuse was going on that Dean was over, that attorney arguing, then why was he able to, you know, continue to have his license and therefore allow something like this to happen?
Yeah, and that's a question that's probably on a lot of people's minds, including the people who had loved ones in these nursing home facilities. So this is a story that obviously is going to be, we're going to be talking about for a while. There are many lawsuits pending, including Ron Haley's. So where's the best place for us to kind of keep track of this as things evolve?
Yeah, of course, this, as always, is in the investigator section of the 9 News app. And Liz, as you mentioned, of course, a lot of us are going to be talking about this for a while, and there's still that ongoing investigation within LDH as well, just to kind of see what happened, kind of how this all fell apart and was able to play out the way that it did. But you can find this story, and you see a lot of other links and a lot of other previous stories that we've done here in the investigator section of the 9 News app. So, of course, that's always the best resource for you to go and find any of the latest information for those stories that we've been working on, including this one.
All right, Scotty Hunter for us, and thank you guys for joining us on this episode of Uncovering the Investigation. We'll see you next time.